So first of all, good afternoon. Thank you very much for attending this session on webinar series from the InterConnect project. So today we have a presentation from our colleagues from EBUS. So talking about use cases as main pillar to describe customers' needs and solutions. This session will be led by Ralphino Prum and Josef Baumeister from EBUS. Where you have the opportunity to listen a bit about the use cases and how they are being created and designed within the project, and some of the lessons learned in the project and some of the main outputs that we already have, and hopefully to exchange a bit of the experiences back and forth. So you'll have a Q&A opportunity to pose some of these questions throughout of the session, whenever the presenters are finished with their presentations, and we'll go on the live floor to read out the questions. So feel free to drop in some of these questions on the Q&A. In between, we will also be polled with some questions, so create some dynamics on this. So since this is about use cases, we can break the ice already with an initial question, which is related to your familiarity with this question. So this is just to create some early dynamics with everyone and to check if you're not aware of this, if this is something that you're using within your line of work, so we can get acquainted to this. So right after this initial poll, just to create some dynamics between us, we can then go ahead with the first presentation. So the first speaker will be Ralphino Prum from EBUS, as already mentioned, and then we'll have Josef Baumeister. So I propose that whenever we have this done from the first poll, we can jump right ahead from the presentation from Ino's side. So I would please welcome Ino to the floor and to share his presentation with us today. And again, just as a reminder, we have the Q&A open, so feel free to interact with us.
Okay, thanks, David, for the introduction. Welcome everybody to today's webinar talking about use cases as main pillar to describe customers' needs and solutions. Let's look at the agenda, what we brought today. So first of all, we start with the motivation. So this is a kind of problem we want to solve. Here we brought an example and explain the methodology according to an example. So then we will explain the use methodology and interconnect. And we will then talk about the process because we put all puzzle pieces together in agenda item 3. And afterwards, we transform this to real life, because all the methodology is kind of theoretical, but with real inputs, but at least you need to try it out and to find if you're good or if you have failed with this solution. So as motivation, we are starting today with a movie we brought. So just listen and read. So I will start the movie right now. Hopefully this video frames a little bit where we want to go today. So we put that on a slide, of course. So Wind energy is a volatile form of energy. So, and if implemented in large scale, we need to make sure that the energy is consumed when it's available. Yeah. So the voice of the customer, what is the end customer, is saying, okay, cost optimized and CO neutral energy supply. So this is his voice of the customer. And as an energy service provider, ESP or DSO, distribution system operator, I would like to distribute my wind energy when it's available instead of power curtailing or breaking the windmill, or stopping even the windmill. So this will be my voice of the customer. So this is a little bit more framed. What should the movie tell you about as introduction? Good. So let's talk about the methodology we used in InterConnect. So let's start with the innovation. What is innovation? I put here on the slide the ultimate definition of innovation. So this is put together by 10 leaders. And so this is the outcome. So executing an idea which addresses a specific challenge and achieves value for both company and customer. So this is about innovation, and for this, how to get to this innovation. Yeah, we are using the design thinking methodology. So this is all about, first of all, the definition of the problem. Yeah. Afterwards, you need to try to understand people's needs and define personas. Next step is to discover solutions. Yeah, ideate what kind of solution could exactly fulfill or solve the people's needs. Yeah, and the people is the specified persona. The next step would be the implementation of the idea in prototypes and products. And of course, you need to test it to see if you solve the item or if you need to adjust it a little bit or if you fully fail. Good. This is a little bit of graph, yeah, what shows exactly what I was telling here with the 5 lines. Yeah, problem framing, ideation, and going to the solution. Yeah. So, so the design thinking methodology is about or is a creative problem-solving idea with the intention to foster ideation, yeah, and innovation. Yeah, you normally run these meetings not with just engineers, not with just product management people. You have a good mix of yeah, all kind of people. Yeah, what could have really new knowledge. Yeah, and really good experts. Yeah. So this is the perfect group for the design thinking methodology. Why? Yeah, because yeah, the guys who have really no clue from it, they bring in ideas, yeah, that you never had thought about. Yeah, of course you need to sort out, let's say 80 to 90% of these ideas maybe later on. Yeah, but the one good idea that you really need for your business, it could be created even by a person who has no clue from what you're doing and what you will do. Yeah, good. So first of all, it's the leverage of creativity as main driver for innovation. Of course, you take the seat of the human-centric perspective. Yeah, when innovators build empathy with users. Yeah, so you really identify later on with the persona you defined, and try to think as a persona is doing. Yeah, and the third item is here the intense use of experimentation as rapid and effective source of communication. Yeah, and you will learn among all stakeholders you will meet in this process. Yeah, and this leads into kind of back and forward. Of course, you always go forward, but you translate something what you find. For example, in the later process, we'll transfer back, for example, to the persona definition, or even define a new persona because you found, okay, I didn't thought about at this step at the time where I defined the personas. So the steps in design thinking is the problem framing, the solution design, and the solution development. So following the colors, we start with the problem framing. So this is all about first to identify a kind of vision with new values, what you will define in a manifesto. Yeah, we will talk later on about the template, where to get in a structured way to your manifesto. The next thing is when you have the vision, explaining what's the main value, what are the key features, and why I'm doing this and what I'm doing. is to go with a system ecosystem map where you put all stakeholders that are in the ball game into this picture and try to align them with arrows, and putting there on in which relationship they are and maybe what functionality you will deliver. So you're illustrating a little bit kind of data flow, stakeholders, and so on. So this is the first picture you're drawing out of your vision. By doing this, you should consider from the first step the country-specific analysis. For example, InterConnect, we're hitting 7 countries in total. So with different legal requirements. So there is very important to cover the country-specific analysis from the very beginning. That does not mean that you don't follow good ideas that are not allowed actually. But you should consider that from the very first moment that there are roadblocks that you need to move away. Good. Let's start with the template for the manifesto. This is a template we use in InterConnect to try to frame the vision. So we brought you the example in today's webinar. Wind energy as a service is here the motto. And what we are looking for is for an automated approach from energy management through energy service provider and DSO and customer collaboration. What are the main features here? Just real quick, this template is about the motto, why I'm doing this, and what I'm really doing. And following our path with the wind energy, we talk about the harmonization of energy consumption and CO2 neutral production. We want to prevent the grid from high costs, which we have to spend to make a mobility and heating transition reality. Why are we doing this? Of course, we want to have a sustainability of supply. Because otherwise, if everybody buys an e-vehicle and everybody buys heat pump on an air conditioning system and is running this, we're kind of facing a blackout. And if we are moving towards wind energy, what is more or less volatile and PV, we need to make sure that we have sustainability of supply. So this is the answer to the why. The answer to the what is, what we are trying to do in our vision is, we need a DSO ESP device connectivity through any kind of gateway, and we need to try to sell through this interface, what we have established, to sell flexibility, and get somehow planning security, for the guy who is selling the energy. Of course, we want, or the answer to the what is that we want to have an efficient usage of the renewable energy. Good. This is the vision. As mentioned in the introduction to the problem framing, we start with drawing an ecosystem map. So you have all stakeholders which are relevant in this ballgame. We have here in this picture. We talked about the DSO. We have the energy supplier. We have kind of gateway to reach the building. We have the prosumer with all the connected devices. We have metering. From there, you can think about first what kind of features can we sell to solve the problem. Here is, for example, the user feature is price optimized operation of devices here, or device operation even in underload scenarios. Because in the future you will have power curtailment by the DSO because you have an energy shortage. And you will live with that. Without touching your comfort. Because your system is introduced to prevent you in overload scenarios from losing comfort. Next thing is you can run even indications, or give indications to run additional devices to use energy. What are the grid features? So the grid features is about the increase of volatile energy, of course by any kind of flexible tariff, to tell the customer, okay, now it's cheap to buy in, now it's expensive to buy in, and try a little bit to educate the consumption process. And the next feature, of course, is the power limitation. In case you will run into trouble, you will tell the buildings, okay, guys, go a little bit more slow. You don't want, you will not lose the comfort, but at least we need to go a little bit more slow in terms of energy consumption. Good. What is a business model in this case? Yeah. In the very first moment, you should think about how to sell it. Yeah, because you could have the best idea, but if you cannot sell it, you can introduce it to the market. Yeah. As business model idea here in the framing process, it's tariff information to stimulate the energy consumption. Yeah. Go for kind of pay-as-you-go features, yeah, so the customer can select features that he's interested in, yeah, and of course, you can have kind of aggregated service with participating companies like a fridge seller or somebody else, because you booked as pay-as-go service, let's say, the energy analysis of your devices, and this is telling you, okay, buy a new fridge, yeah, here's the RA calculation, 2 years. You're beneficial. Yeah. So you could sell this information to the media market, what is offering you in the app. Okay, here's a new fridge. Yeah. Good. This is just at the business model. It's pretty rough. Yeah. But you should consider it from the first moment. Otherwise you will fail because you recognize you cannot sell. Good. What we introduced from the very beginning is as well, yeah, measurements. Yeah. Of course, you need to define some KPIs. To have at the very beginning, yeah, kind of milestone you want to hit. Good. The next step after framing everything with these templates, so we have the vision, we have the ecosystem map. We thought a little bit about what is a country-specific situation. Yeah, we go into the solution design, and of course, in the solution design, it's very important to learn about the customer you want to sell your product to. So this is classically a persona. Or you define multiple personas, yeah. So you need to create user profiles and define their needs, yeah. If you have defined a couple of personas, yeah, we started, for example, with a request to define 4. Some came with 4, others came with 10, yeah. It depends really on the thing you want to solve, yeah. In our example, we have 4 or 5 profiles defined. Where we want to define a solution. So the next step in the solution design process is to identify the service, yeah, to fulfill the needs, yeah. So the service idea should be a multiple of the user profile number, yeah. So it's 15 to 20, yeah, because you will sort out in the process. Yes, you should have a lot of them, yeah. So generating the service idea with service clusters where you will offer any kind of service to solve the specific needs of the end customer. This is the service idea is, yeah, the first thought about the idea, what to sell or what is really the service, yeah. And then you need to select from this pool of ideas, yeah, 5 to 10 good ideas, yeah. And for this, you need to derive a detailed service journey. So what is really the feeling of the customer before he is going for this solution, in the middle of the solution, through this solution, and at the end of the ballgame, and after he says, okay, I don't want to go with this solution anymore. Yeah? Last but not least, here you will, in the solution framing, you will a little bit concretize more what is your business model through a canvas. Yeah. So going through the templates, here, for example, this is Jean Dupont from Hamburg area. So in this template, you will find a rough description about, yeah, who is this guy? Yeah, what is his basic behavior? What is his needs? And how is he thinking? And what are constraints? What could act as a roadblocker for my business? Yeah. For example, this Jean Dupont has a goal to become 100% autark from the energy system. So this is his new idea. Yeah. So this guy is 33 years old. Yeah. He has an own residential home. Yeah. He's working as a business guy. Just bought an electrical vehicle. Yeah. Has PV on the roof already and a stationary battery system. So he's well equipped. Yeah. Thinking about to buy a heat pump. Yeah. On the other hand, yeah, in his situation, yeah, his wife keeps an eye on the financial situation because you see he spends already a lot of money in renewable technology. So this is some kind of roadblocker. Yeah. In the behavior, yeah, he's focused on environmental responsibility. Yeah. He's of course open to new technologies. Yeah. And he's following decisions last week because he went first analyze Does it make sense where I get when my RI is reached and so on? So you want definitely get a value out of what he's investing. Yeah. So his needs is he wants to have a clear overview of his power consumption. Yeah. He want to combine existing technologies with new technologies. Yeah. As mentioned, he's looking on the RI. Yeah. And his needs is he's not a technical guy, he's a business guy, and so he's calling for anybody who's doing the installation. Yeah, any kind of third party needs to drop everything, install everything, and leave it as a working system. Yeah, what are the constraints? Yeah, so he's kind of he doesn't like complex technical installations. Yeah, and any kind of maintenance. Yeah, so it must run. Yeah. So how does he want to charge, how does he want to be charged for exceeding the maximum capacity? No, he doesn't want to do so. So if there's coming any kind of contract in place, what says, okay, if you exceed the limit in the future, he's the guy who's saying no. Yeah. Good, so this is basically the customer profile, one of the customer profile. We have Sophie and so on. I just want to treat you with this here. To just give you an overview how we analyzed the persona where we can sell the services to. So coming to the service idea, in the introduction we found the wind energy that we make the wind energy available or use the wind energy when it's available. Yeah. So that means we need any kind of system what allows us that we influence the energy consumption of buildings. Yeah. So in this template we put the question, how might we for example here, enable the ESP DSO to send tariff information to buildings. So this is the how might we, because we think this is kind of service we could offer. Yeah. Okay, we send you kind of tariff, on which you react manually or in which your devices react on automatically, what is the perfect case. Yeah. So that we can make sure that we can, on the one hand, optimize your cost as the end customer benefit, and harmonize energy consumption and production on the other hand. So in this service idea, we ask or we answer the question, how might we deliver a value and what are the benefits? As well, we give a little bit details, a little bit of schematic again, to visualize what is the basic idea of the service. So as mentioned, if you have now 20 services, you will then go with the group and double check, okay, what fulfills best the needs, and what looks like has a good business model, so that we have a chance to sell it. So once you have chosen this, and of course we choose the flexible tariff, here in the description, you go for the service journey. So first of all, in this template, you go a little bit for the description of the service, explaining, okay, what is about the flexible tariff and how does it work with a residential home or any kind of building, how the EMS, the energy management system, and the devices are incorporated here. So then you explain a little bit what is going on in the front end, what is to the face to the customer, and what is going on in the back end, as full journey, full customer journey, in the phases pre-installation, during the execution, and post-installation. So in the first raw here, we have the user actions. So these are all the user action in the full user journey, and we have the backend action filed. To structure a little bit our service idea, with concrete steps, what are the actions taken? For example, in our case, we have to install the app. We have to set up the system to be able to react on tariff information. When we are using these systems, the customer, for example, will receive push notifications. Okay, energy is cheap. And gets transparency on how actually his automatically working devices are scheduled. Otherwise, you think, okay, there's my EV and I want to go next morning at 8, it looks like it doesn't charge. You're kind of nervous. Yeah. So you should have kind of interaction with your customer, saying, okay, everything's fine. Here's the schedule, and we will do the job for you. Yeah. Good. Next thing is that you will have over time any information about your consumption, at what tariff, and what is the billing, and what is your benefit. Yeah. Of course, the customer should have an answer on, what is really the energy flow in my system. Yeah. And yeah, pointing to Jean Dupont, yeah, who don't feel really comfortable with a non-working system. Yeah. So it's very important to have kind of feedback function, yeah, in your system. Yeah. Yeah, very easy through an app, send a feedback. Okay, question on this looks like it's not working. You have to interact real quick with the customer. And this is why I highlighted this here. Yeah, in the backend, somebody need to work on the feedbacks and requests, yeah, to optimize the system, of course, and to answer requests, yeah, to make the customer feel a little bit more comfortable. Yeah. If the customer says after, yeah, a couple of years, well, it doesn't make any sense for me, yeah, with the post installation, yeah. So this is just, yeah, move all stuff what's installed out, yeah. So then the EMS, if there is an EMS, yeah, the building is managed not automatically anymore. You won't receive any push mails anymore, saying, okay, energy sheep, go for consumption. Yeah. Good. So this is the full service journey. Yeah. Hitting the business canvas on this. So most important is what is really the added value we are selling. Yeah. How can we realize it in terms of development costs? This is a topic invests. Yeah. What is the revenue stream? Yeah. Why should anybody invest here? Yeah. Or buy this or offer this? And the next thing is what is pretty important in the business canvas is how to access the market. Yeah, again, if I don't have anybody who's interested in, if I cannot reach the customer, if I don't make any strategy how to reach a customer, yeah, we will fail because otherwise nobody would buy the good offer, yeah, or nobody would offer it because says, okay, there's no customer. Yeah. In our case, of course, is yeah, as mentioned, operate the devices at the lowest cost. Yeah, if you get a tariff, okay, now energy is for free. Yeah, all the devices, heat pump, EV, and so on, will go for taking energy. Yeah, and if the energy price is high, the device will say, okay, no, I have enough flexibility. My user told me, okay, I have to run my washing machine until 5. Okay, let's schedule somewhere there. Yeah. And the EV wants to leave next morning. Okay, it's good. Good. I will charge it later at low cost. Yeah, and so on. This is something that we can sell as value for the end customer. Of course, for the DSO and ESP, it's the management of the overload and load scenarios which are kicking in by the volatile energy resources, of PV and wind energy in our example. So invest is all about the development costs. So what we need to invest, where's my ROI? What is really the cost benefit I have at the end of the day in terms of net present value. Yeah. On the other hand, the revenue stream is the safe cost. Yeah, and of course, for the ESP and the DSO, it's a flexibility at relatively low invest. Yeah, because you do a little bit of management. Yeah, and try to educate the consumption. Yeah, and this is the good flexibility you can get for really low invest compared to running new cables. Yeah, from A to B. Yeah. With a dimension what is much more than we have today in our grounds, yeah, because we are hitting mobility transition and heating transition. Yeah, good customer segments where I can sell it. Yeah, of course to everybody who's interested. Yeah, and of course to everybody who has or can give a high support with flexible devices. Yeah, what is EV, heat pump, and so on. Yeah. Good. That was the business canvas. So now we are in the solution development. Yeah. So we need now, to create kind of user stories. Yeah, where the user is telling me what you want to do. Yeah, and this is gathered then into epics. Then we will translate these epics and user stories. What is telling me about the customer and about the solution to a high-level use case. Yeah, and the high-level use case describes them yeah, my solution at 10,000 feet high. Good. What is the difference, or how does the epic user story and high-level use case fit together? Yeah. So epics is a bunch of user stories. Yeah, we call it here user story 1.1 and 1.2. And we might have another epic what has other user stories. Yeah, we could have tons of epics. Yeah, with user stories. Yeah, you can combine really the same epics, or what makes sense to kind of super epic. Yeah, but let's talk about user stories, epics, and how we then walk towards the high-level use case. The most important thing is when we have the user story. Out of an epic, what is telling the story, yeah, that we can reuse these user stories in other high-level use cases. We indicated here with the different colors of the arrows. Yeah, you see here, for example, user story 1 is used in high-level use case 1, 1.1, 1.2, and 3.2. Yeah, so and the other stuff is used in high-level use case 2. Yeah. So with this, you make sure you have high reuse of your user stories, yeah, in different high-level use case. The interesting thing here is a kind of turning point, yeah, because you turn here from the customer-centric view on the things, what is persona analysis, how to create the business, what is the journey, user journey, and so on. You turn to the solution-centric view, yeah. So because in a high level use case, yeah, you will describe the solution, yeah, on a kind of technical base. Yeah, 10,000 feet high is not for technicians, because you will drive technicians crazy with a high level use case, because there's nothing in how they can create, or what they can create any kind of product. Yeah, it's just 10,000 feet high description of the solution. Yeah, but it's important to say, okay, now we're turning from customer-centric to solution-centric. Yeah, good. How does the epic template look like? Okay, we have an epic name here, one of flexible and efficient device operation. Yeah, and we have our user stories here. And in the user stories, we have always our persona, the role he's actually taking, and what is the user story. And the user story we put two phrases in front. Yeah, what is I want, so that. Yeah, let's play the example of the house owner who wants to charge his EV, yeah, or who want to charge from renewable energy, yeah, so that I can protect my environment. So you are kind of in a dialogue. I want this to do that. Yeah, good. This we did in this example. Yeah, of course, the user stories are multiple of what we brought here. So we have twice the house owner in this example. Yeah, what is how to deal with my EV in my smart home, and how to deal with the white goods in my smart home. Yeah, but we have the persona DSO ESP as well. Yeah, because this guy wants to manage overload and underload scenarios in my grid. Yeah, to guarantee supply security while enhancing wind energy production. Yeah. At the other hand, I want to make use of flexibility to optimize grid operation. Yeah, why he wants to do that? So that I can get stability from my grid. Yeah, so this is all about the user stories and how it works together. And now we are, yeah, changing the views. Yeah, now we are in the solution-centric view. Yeah, of course the user is still with us. Yeah, but we are trying to explain it out of the eyes. How does a technology look like? Yeah, what's in this template? So of course the goal, yeah, what I want to achieve. Yeah, and we have a couple of actors. Yeah, most important is here the involved roles. Yeah, so these are the initial actors. Yeah, so we have the EV, as mentioned. We have a kind of energy management system. We have an energy service provider, or DSL, maybe any kind of aggregator in between. Yeah. And we have the EV owner as the interactor with the system. Yeah, as business actors, yeah, with of course the guys from the service provider and the DSL. So they will create business out of that. Maybe there's an aggregator who's taking a little bit of the business as well. Yeah, We have secondary business actors. So secondary business actor is somebody who's not directly involved, but he's participating. Yeah. Maybe it's a lease company, yeah, who's helping with the finance, for example, for PV plant and EV or whatever. So secondary business actor will be the leasing company. So in the description of the use case, yeah, you're now on 10,000 feet high, yeah, explaining how is the system working, yeah, a little bit of introduction, yeah, and then you start with 10,000 feet high requirement. We need flexible tariffs. We need an EMS which receive this and offer the energy to the devices through any kind of incentive tables, yeah. Devices shall select the energy required out of the offers they got through an EMS. Yeah. So then the device will submit kind of charging plan or power consumption plan to the EMS by making use of that flexibility. As mentioned, the vehicle could say, okay, this is way too expensive, and later it's much cheaper. I go for the cheaper charging process because I want to leave tomorrow at 8. Yeah, fully fine with this. Same to any other device. Yeah. Good, and at least you're calling for devices or device implementation that provide incentive-based, table-based power consumption management, yeah, that are able to negotiate with the energy manager on a consumption plan, yeah, automatically, of course, in milliseconds or seconds, yeah, and for machines which don't want to negotiate, it's kind of a shifting mechanism that they tell you, okay, this is the latest point, I want to start my action. Yeah, what could be a washing machine, dishwasher, or any kind of white good device. Yeah, of course, this energy management should be kind of holistic. Yeah, so this is why I highlighted here the base load. This should be considered as well, because if I just have my most important or most energy relevant devices in my system, I don't know. I don't have the holistic view about my energy consumption. So this is why I need to consider my base load, yeah, called here as a requirement as well, and to make sure I can learn about the building behavior, yeah, or even identify devices that I don't know what it is, but I know, okay, every Sunday we have this device. I call it X. X is on Sunday at 9. Yeah, could be the oven. Yeah. Good. So this is the template. We use an InterConnect to interact with the first solution view. Yeah. Again, it's 10,000 feet. You need to differentiate this out and the later process. Yeah. Good. Let's talk real quick about the results in InterConnect here. Most important in solution design is the service concept. There's 32 service concept. And in solution development, we have 109 high-level use case, yeah, derived through this methodology. And what have we identified as service cluster? As main clusters, we identified flexibility, monitoring, comfort and convenience, and grid stability. Just hitting the point of the flexible tariffs again and flexible consumption production in the flexibility case. Monitoring is everybody's interested in. Okay, I did invest. What is really my energy consumption? It's about energy comfort, and very important here was compilation of the information. Not several apps. Yeah, it's one app where everything must be aggregated. Yeah, grid stabilization, of course, it's about harmonization of production and demand. Yeah, and in convenience, yeah, it's system setup. Again, one app. Yeah. And yeah, a little bit of toying. Yeah, what is remote control? Yeah, if you can remote control something from the sofa with the same app, great. Yeah, so it should be open to even integrate comfort functions. Yeah. So what are the identified high-level clusters? So why clustering? Yeah, that's a question we should answer here. This is, you need to refocus a little bit on the problem. Yeah, reminding to the movie we had at the beginning, we want to make wind energy available and available in a large scale. Yeah, so we need a little bit to concentrate again on the focus. Yeah, of course the InterConnect focus is not just wind energy. Yeah, just one example out of it we took for this session. Yeah, but it helps us to refocus on common set of high-level use case and of course common data models. Yeah. So how does it look in InterConnect? So it was the flexibility, it was self-consumption, grid stabilization, monitoring, comfort service, and other services. Yeah. Good. Let's do a little bit of process recap, because what we talked about is already the process. Yeah. So our agile process looks like this. We start with the ecosystem context. Yeah. We then created personas, needs, and ideas, and the errors here are bilateral because it's an agile process. Okay, I forgot this and add this. Yeah. So there's a problem definition phase. Yeah. Then we move towards the epics and user stories, generated service concept. Same here, bilateral. Yeah. It's an exchange between both steps. Yeah. In workshops. Yeah. And all this we could frame as a design thinking methodology. Yeah. In this gray shaped box. Then we are facing the high-level use cases, as explained. Yeah. So this is the first step. Yeah, where we try to translate the design thinking results. Yeah, to the first solution. Yeah. Then it's about the business models. Yeah, and all this what we did until here is double checked with pilots or test installations. Yeah, because if we cannot test it, yeah. We need to find a way to test it or think about to do something different. Yeah, or just label it as an idea. Yeah, but you need to have from the very first beginning your double check with the pilots. So next step in the translation phase is the translation of requirements into technical specifications. So this is where you take really the high level use case to technical use cases. I put all acronyms for this. It's technical use cases. Some call it primary use case. The next one is coming, telling me it's a system use case. Yeah. So it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So after the high level use case, you need to detail it out from 10,000 feet high to the technical use case. Yeah. So you are now in the translation phase. Yeah. And from there, you will, if you have the technical specification with all the actors and sequence diagrams and data points, yeah, you need to make sure that you have a high reuse of your technical use case. Yeah, this you can guarantee through defining use case function. What is a subset of this use case? Yeah, but it's just a function, so you can reuse the use case function in other technical use cases. Good. Next step is then what's not anymore in the design thinking, translation of design thinking, and technical specification area. You see it's becoming more and more gray in the interaction with other working patterns from technology side. So this is a data model language definition. Yeah. Sarah for Anna, for example. Yeah. All this ends up in an IoT reference architecture. Yeah. From the other guys, from the other side, the business guys come with their really real detailed business cases. Yeah, what is far away from just having the business canvas in place. Yeah, for a rough idea, and all this comes together in the architecture in the devices which are connected to a platform on which we run the business cases on how we try out in the pilots. Yeah. So this is the full set of our agile innovation process, and to be honest, it works good. You know, we had good ideas, as you've seen with results, and translating once more the templates to the process. Yeah, we had the vision. Yeah, so there was the manifesto and the ecosystem template. Then we moved towards the needs and ideas. Yeah, so the ideation process. It was the persona template and the service idea template. Yeah. Then we get a little bit more concrete, yeah, with a solution. That was the service concept, with a journey, yeah. And we said, okay, we have the journey. Let's talk about the user stories and so on. So this was the epic user story template, yeah. Then we come to the point how to build, yeah. So this was the high-level use case template, yeah, with the 10,000 feet high solution definition, yeah. And the next one was how to sell, yeah. It was the business model template. Good. So now we have to address a question to the audience. I guess, David, you will do that. So please answer the question by saying yes or no. Good. So then we will proceed with the technical part, how to translate this now really to a technical base. So my colleague Joseph Baumeister will be the pilot for the rest of the flight. So meet you again in the discussion session then. Thank you so far.
Okay, thanks a lot. And do you hear me now? And do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, seems to be that I now need a little bit to be a little bit faster because we are nearly end of the time. But anyhow, what I would like to do is now to map it to the real situation in Norderstedt. You have seen the initial video from Norderstedt. They want to reuse, or they want to use 100% wind energy in the region until 2035. So first of all, what is a high-level use case and a technical use case? Inno has already briefly talked about. My comparison is like that. A high-level use case is I want to clean my house, and I have a couple of different scenarios. One of this scenario is, for example, I clean it for myself. And the other one is, for example, I let it clean by a company. And both of this will lead into different ways, different solutions. Once I need to organize it for myself to buy a broom and so forth, and the other one I need to organize getting a company, getting an offer, selecting a company, and so forth. So this is what needs to be done. The high-level use case is the description of the different kind of scenarios, what I have to get my target ready. The second one is the primary system. Technical use cases are the steps, the single steps to be done. For example, a washing machine needs to talk to an energy manager, or I need to organize my broom and to use that broom. So this is, for me, the distinction between a high-level use case and a technical use case. A primary use case, technical use case, system use case, already mentioned it, that there's no common single wording for that, but a primary use case can be reused in different high-level use cases. That makes reuse easier. And what we do is to deliver all our output later on, we use a common template. This is the IEC 62559-2 template, where we describe the high-level use cases. These are relevant for the pilots, what the stakeholder want to do, and the primary use cases step-by-step approach. And this is done here in our use case template, and later on InterConnect will provide all the use cases we have used in our pilots and make this available. Back to Norderstedt. You have seen that we have a couple of services collected. One of this is the energy flexibility service. One of this is the grid stability service, and you see the partner which are using this constellation. You see on the left side the energy service supplier, and you often have seen that the service provider is offering flexible tariffs for what? It's easy. The wind energy is not available all the time, and it makes sense to represent the availability of wind energy based on flexible tariffs. If I have enough energy available, I reduce the price, and for the consumer, it's easier to be convinced to use this energy at that time. On the other side, what you also have is the distribution system operator. This is the one who delivers you the energy. Like, for example, you have ordered 500 books from Amazon, but the postman is only able to deliver you 100, yeah? So that means in that case, you have an issue. So this is also part of we need grid stability, and you cannot foresee that everything can be transported. The copper in the ground is not unlimited. And the third party, as already mentioned, is the customer that consumes the energy when the tariff is cheap, or when the price is cheap, and then the capacity is available. Getting to the next level of description. For example, if now the energy provider serves you the price tables on an app, and you expect that the DSO can deliver it, then you can start your oven when the conditions for you are optimal. This is the easiest way, a manual interaction by the user. But you also can see that it is not the easiest way, because you need to be at home, you need to get all the information. What's more likely to use the interaction managed by an energy management system. So that means for you as a user, it needs to be very easy, because you want to use the same process of filling the laundry in your washing machine and then start like you do today. So that is now the situation that if you want to offer flexibility, you can tell the system, hey, this needs to be ready, my laundry needs to be ready until 8 o'clock when I'm coming home. And my dear washing machine, please start accordingly. Then you see the same situation. The DSO is delivering the capacity, or delivering a reduction of the capacity if it is not able to deliver everything. The energy service provider still is offering you the price, but the energy manager takes care about that. And for this, the washing machine, the device, needs to tell about the needs, the demands. For example, the power curve, like you see it in this picture. So here, once again, if the washing machine is started, then the washing machine gets in communication with the energy manager. It sends the information, hey, I need now this kind of demand, this kind of power curve, and until 8 o'clock this evening. And then based on all the information the energy manager has collected from all the sites, it can tell the washing machine, okay, then start at 3 o'clock. Now, getting into the details of the single sites, the single high-level use cases, I have not chosen one. This is called maximize utilization of renewable energy at grid connection point. This is the business scenario of the Stadtwerke Norderstedt, replaced by the energy service provider role and based by the DSO, the delivery. Deliverer. Under normal circumstances, the energy service provider would expect, hey, what is your demand, my dear energy manager? What do you expect to consume in the next time frame? What is already planned? And then the energy manager can send the tariff information based on the availability of wind energy, or it can do it regularly. It does not matter what is the first one, but anyhow, it can react upon and can send the tariffs to the EMS. The second scenario is the DSO needs to deliver what has been planned so far. So in that case, the DSO can ask the energy service provider what is the expectation of the delivery in the next time frame, and then can verify, am I able to deliver that, yes or no? If not, then it can choose the first scenario 2A. My dear energy service provider, I'm not able to deliver that. Can you adopt your tariff information, or can you adopt your price so that it will be balanced out in that way? If that is not the case, if that is not possible, it can send directly an information to the energy manager, even if you have planned to consume this and that. I'm not able to deliver you that amount. I'm able to deliver you a limited power consumption, and can inform this to the energy manager, so that the energy manager has a basis for decision taking. Now I'm getting a little bit deeper into the description. You see it right now already, but it's the same context here. Now we are on the other side, on the side of the user and the premises. And you see here already a UML diagram, a sequence diagram. The same, the user can choose using the washing machine to be flexible. It can choose the charging point or the electric vehicle to charge on a flexible way. It can also advise the heat pump to be flexible. Here in this example, we have the washing machine again. The user interaction is the same as already mentioned. The user puts the laundry in the washing machine. It selects flexible start, and in addition to the normal operation, it only edits the latest end time, and then it starts a flexible start. So that means for the user, it's nothing different than adding the latest end time when I want to get the laundry ready. Now the primary use case is starting flexible start of a smart appliance, and this is appears to everybody who uses this kind of primary use case in this high-level use case or in this pilot. So that means here once again the smart appliance is notifying the energy manager about the demand. The energy manager now can select different opportunities, like everything is okay, I'm happy with what you have already preferred, or I would like to have a new start time, or I would like to have an alternative with the start time, and so forth. So that means there's a kind of communication between premises energy manager and the smart appliance to get the best fitting time. And that can be changed until the smart appliance starts running. It has a performance target because it needs to be ready at latest at 8 o'clock. So at the end of the cycle, the premises energy manager normally would inform the user via the app, hey, everything is ready, and this is the last and final interaction with the user. This is now only to show you a little bit how deep it then needs to go. This is the primary use case and the use case function interaction, and this is based on is an accept from the already available standard EN 5631, how a household appliance network and grid connectivity looks like. You see again here the washing machine, which can announce a plan first of all because it was programmed to start by the user. This is now the communication between the washing machine and the energy manager, and it sends a plan, or the energy manager can request the plan. The energy manager later on can shift the preferred power sequence unless the smart appliance started. And that can be done as long as possible. Scenario 3 is selecting an alternative power sequence, as already mentioned before. Here you see the use case function, plan with power sequence, preferred power sequence, select power sequence, and so forth. The intention is that the other peer, the energy manager, needs to know what kind of information is available. And here you see the description of the power plan. It is the complete description, like, hey, I have one alternative. This alternative has one power sequence. This power sequence has 3 power time slots. The first one is 2 minutes, 500 watts. The second one is 20 minutes, 2 kilowatts, and so forth. Each state is scheduled, inactive, invalid, and so forth. It has a starting time, the end time. It has an early start time and a latest end time, because my user wants to have the laundry ready at the latest end time, and so forth. And this information are necessary to be available on the other side, to be interpreted on the right way on the other side. And this is then done also in our InterConnect project by SARFization. SARF for ENA, the Smart Application Reference Framework, describes on an ontology base all these information which are available, which need to be available, so that they can understood on a proper way, and each and everybody can reuse it in kinds of technologies like Spine, like OCF, like KNX, and anywhere else. if that is necessary or if somebody wants to use that in that way. Okay, last but not least, before we get to the last question, Paul, for you, what do we get in Norderstedt? The main intention of the pilot in Norderstedt to exactly prove that concept, demand forecast with flexible tariffs, with power limitation. And the main question is, for example, are we able to foresee and to use the wind energy as max as possible, including the own PV energy on the roof, including the flexibility for the white goods, including flexibility with EV chargers, and including flexibility with heat pumps. So this is my last slide now, and I ask you again for the last poll, and then we can go into the question and answer period. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you very much, So we have now the poll ongoing. So I guess we'll probably open a bit the floor for some questions. We have already some here. So one of the questions that we have here introduced by Benedict Kippes from Green Tracks is the part related with the reference architecture. So the question on the side is how it is the design thinking process connected to the modeling, to the reference architecture. Also in line with that, the question on posed here on the Q&A is, are you using SGAM, so the Smart Grid Reference Architecture? So I'll leave it up this question for either one of you to answer this. I don't know.
I think I can give you a very short answer on that. Yes, first of all, it has a clear relation because all the stakeholders, all the roles, all the actors, all the devices in the complete pilot are necessary to be realized or to be part of the architecture. And secondly, yes, what we use at the SGAM, the main driver was the Smart Grid Coordination Group with a mandate with a mandate 490, and they have to develop the SGAM Smart Grid Architecture Model. And what we also use is we have a second derivation of that. This is the HBAM, the Home and Building Architecture Model. We will also use on that.
Okay, just again, to create a bit more dynamics on this, just to say that for those willing to pose live questions, just raise your hand and either me or Joanna, we can give you the floor to introduce this question. So for those willing to do some more questions, and also regarding this last one, for Benedict, if it's not clear, if you want to introduce a bit more, just raise your hand and we can pass you the microphone, so to speak. Okay, while we wait for further questions, I have one from my side. All of this process on design thinking puts, in fact, the consumer at the center of the rationale here. And one of the points that was raised through the discussions in the project was to have this part from technical personnel, people that already develop a lot of this solution, have a lot of knowledge brought in from their own experience and other initiatives to define this approach to the end users. How do you think later on, how does this couple later on with the actual interaction with the end users on requesting them, for instance, if we are evaluating a service, if they were willing to adopt or not the service? So how could the end user be brought into this discussion besides all of the technical parts? Either of you. So feel free to jump into the discussion.
I can jump in. I mean, at least the field trail will show the results. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't go to the customer and discuss with him technical details. Yeah. you should, I mean, we just gathered his needs and how to fulfill his needs. And at least there must be kind of exchange in the, let's call it acquiring phase. Yeah. That we exactly find this kind of customer. Yeah. And telling him through the added value, okay, is this something for you? Yeah. So the interaction with the end customer is, yeah, in the design thinking process, yes. Yeah. But at least at the field trail, and when you set up the field trail, there we will see, or there we will have the specific interaction. And of course, we will learn there a couple of things. Yeah. Because I don't expect that we find exactly all these personas and that we got everything the right way. Yeah.
And I think I would like to add this, I'm fully in line with that. I think, first of all, the discussion based on the design thinking methodology guides us a little bit also to focus on user needs and so forth. Secondly, the KPIs then tell us, are our goals the right one? And third, the pilots itself will give us at least feedback if, for example, the user is convinced. I'm working with BSH home appliances, and the main intention is to learn if the user really accepts that flexibility is the right solution, that the convenience is achieved as he is used it today, and so forth. This is something that is a clear question and needs to be answered during the pilot. Yeah.
I have just another question. I don't know if there's anyone in the panel, so feel free to drop in another question. If it's not, I'll jump into another one, which is, in your view, how do you think these methodologies could be used to fight some of the, let's say, bad publicity that comes from certain groups regarding, for instance, data privacy? So one of the biggest concerns we have here is, of course, to make sure that all of the information we got back and forth from the consumer side is preserved and is as much as possible it can be protected by all the technology. But how do you think this part of the end user to engage them can be brought into this definition of the use cases?
I mean, the data piracy was one of the strongest requirements. Yeah. And I guess this requirement will be dropped by every customer. Yeah. There might be some that say, okay, for me, it's equal what you do with my data, and if you address it to somebody else. But this requirement is a very strong requirement, and through the high-level use case and technical use case, this is addressed in the IoT reference architecture. Yeah. It needs to be solved there. Yeah. And of course, at the beginning of every program, even if you download an app from the Apple Store, yeah, you hit a box and say, okay, I'm in line with the terms and conditions. Yeah. So moving towards kind of online product and moving towards flexible tariffs needs a little bit of game changing. Yeah. In terms and conditions and accepting this, and a little bit in thinking as well. Yeah. But the data piracy, yeah, isn't touched by this. Yeah, just the way you will accept in the future kind of flexible tariffs. Yeah, not the data piracy itself. Yeah, it will stay and will even get more robust than as of today. Yeah, so this is filed into requirements. Yeah, and this needs to be fulfilled. Otherwise, we cannot sell it. And open system there's no value.
But coming back to your question, hopefully I got your question right, David. I think taking this methodology, the design thinking methodology, as a basis for the discussion about data privacy and so forth, I think that is a very good idea, because this process guides you through all the different flavors of all the different kinds of focusing on the main question. So from different views. And I think that was one of the learnings I got, is I also was not so deeply involved in the design thinking methodology before, but I learned that some perspectives I never ever had in mind before, and that could help definitely, and especially if you take the user into account. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Just as a finalizing point, so it's also related with your point, Joseph. So there are, of course, in all methodologies, a bit of a shortcomings, and this could be one of them. Is there any other shortcoming that you think the methodology still needs some perfecting to cover all of this process thoroughly?
For me, one of the learnings is that, and this is now popping up very precisely or very deeply during the definition of the specific pilots. If you start with a design thinking methodology, you start from a very high level. And I think that is great to create new ideas, but you don't know all the facts already. And I think design thinking methodology should be an agile process. You need to come back, it's a process, yeah? You need to come back with the findings later on, then revise or adapt your definitions or your findings you did before, yeah? That is something I have learned because yeah, sometimes it's easy to mix up different kind of levels in the depths of the definitions, yeah? And I think you need to update it later on, coming back to the process steps and then to fine tune it. This is one of the learning findings I got here.
Okay, so thank you very much to the speakers. So thank you very much for this very good introduction and explanation to the themes. Thank you for all the attendance. I'm closing this session to thank everyone who participated here and hoping to see you all in the next webinar very soon to be announced from our side. So wishing you all a very nice day and a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Same from our side. Bye-bye, everybody.
And bye.